Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chocolate Dinosaur podcast. My name is Alex, and I'm here to yap as per usual. Today's episode is all about movies. So join me as we chat about my favorite movies, some I liked a little less, recent movies I've seen, and different movie reviews I've done. And let's get straight into it. So, what brought this about is that I watched the Thunderbolts yesterday, and it was fantastic. I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite movies that I've seen in a very long time, and I'll read you guys my review before we get into the other movies. But just off the bat, yes, this episode is going to contain spoilers for all types of movies. A lot of these movies aren't super recent. So, yeah, either way, if you're not chill with that, then that's great. And I hope that you can enjoy a different episode of the pod, and I'm sorry. But just off the bat, they're most likely, there's definitely going to be Thunderbolts spoilers. Hopefully it's been out long enough for everyone to kind of see it or get the idea. I'm not going to spell out the whole plot, but in my review there are plenty of spoilers. I wrote the review as we were driving home from the theater, with it fresh on my mind, and obviously not a ton of time to truly take it all in and process everything or dive deeper into everything. So I definitely don't have, I might have more depth to say on it as a little bit of time passes and as it processes in my brain. And I've also been indulging in a ton of Thunderbolts fandom content because I've been a Marvel fan for years and years. I want to say since middle school, definitely. I absolutely love Spider-Man so much. I resonate with him so much, not the intelligence part or the powers part, obviously, but just about his morals and his principles and his values and stuff like that. Anyways, I've been a Marvel fan for a long time, but there's also a ton of Marvel content that I haven't seen or indulged in or finished, and I don't think that discounts me from being able to say that I'm a fan at all. And I've been in the fandom space of Marvel numerous times throughout my time on the internet, and obviously again I've gone in and out, because of course I have phases of being really into it and then really not into it. When I saw, and I'll talk about this movie briefly as well, when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine last summer, I believe it was, I was watching all of the X-Men movies and really indulging in that for a while. So I just kind of get back into it when I see something that just lights that spark for me. And Deadpool and Wolverine definitely did light that spark for me, and Thunderbolts definitely did light that spark for me. in varying ways to varying degrees, but I truly love both of those movies. I think they are incredible, again, for different reasons, but seeing Thunderbolts reignited this flame in me for film and movies, which I've always had a little bit of an interest in. My dream career, my goal career is to work on movies or TV shows or something like that in some capacity. I'm thinking like an art director or a set designer of some kind, or just something in that regard. But the actual like directing and filmmaking aspects are incredibly cool to me as well. But I'm also not like a film bro, and I'm not one of those people who thinks that I'm better than you because I like certain movies. I also don't like a lot of the classics, or haven't seen a lot of the quote classics. And I believe that movies and TV shows is such a individual, personal experience, and that's how it should be, you know? Because we can sit here and say that there are objectively good movies with good technical qualities and good storytelling qualities. Sure, you can say that, but does that really mean anything? You can think that something is the best movie to grace the earth, and then this person next to you can go, meh, it was okay. Because the media that we ingest is so subjective, and it should be. I'm totally on board with that. I think that it absolutely should be a subjective experience of, I enjoy this because it resonates with me, because it makes me excited, because it makes me happy, because I think that it has all of these amazing qualities. And having that personal experience with media is what makes it so incredible. Is that everyone in that theater is having a different reaction or a slightly altered experience, but you're all also experiencing the same thing together, and it is so beautiful. Well, now that we've agreed that you guys aren't going to hate me for the following opinions, we can get straight into my Thunderbolts review. So I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd, because as I said, this movie reignited a spark for me, and I have not felt the feelings that I felt watching this movie for a movie in a very long time. So I'm going to read this review, and while I do, I'll stop a few times to kind of explain things, explain if my opinion has changed on a statement, maybe give more depth to a statement, etc., etc. Okay. Heartbreaking, beautiful, perfect presentation of mental health issues. Bucky coming in and, quote, helping them, actually capturing them, caught me off guard, and I loved it, because for a moment I also thought he was helping them. John calling Bob Bobby the whole time was very cute and silly, and I low-key loved them. I'm going to already pause and say that this has been discussed on Tumblr and on X, Twitter, numerous times that, like, once John Walker heard Bob's abusive father call him Bobby, he, like, lessened it. But I also love the headcanon that people have that Bob now, like, wants John to call him that to kind of give a new emotion, to attach a new emotion to that nickname instead of the negative feelings. And I loved hearing that headcanon, and I think that it's very lovely. I don't know. I can maybe bring this up again later. I don't know anything about Sentry. To be completely honest, I don't know if he's a comic book character. I assume so. I don't know if he's really prevalent in the comics. I actually do not know. I don't know if he's in any particular like franchise of like any particular like story of Marvel, like if he is specifically connected to any characters. I just want to get that out of the way, but I love him, obviously. We all do. Okay. Yelena is such an amazing character, and Florence stuns me every time with her depth and talent. David Harbour does such a good job at portraying a silly, excitable, but full of heart character. Having the levity of the Red Guardian to lighten the mood occasionally, but also allowing him to be part of the team and experience the emotion and soul was a very good choice and helps the movie feel more real and layered. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause again to mention that for me this was really important because so often movies fall into this trap of having a like lighthearted character to lighten the vibe. I don't remember what the word is, but just having a character there for the purpose of making jokes and kind of I don't know, lightening the vibe again, I suppose. But yeah, having a character there like explicitly for levity and for humor and for jokes and not giving them any more depth than that. So many movies and shows, media alike, fall into that pattern of, well, in general, making characters that have like one thing. Like the comic relief is the words I was looking for. The comic relief character is there specifically for that. And I think that in some cases maybe that could work, but it does get exhausting, and I think having the Red Guardian there as a comic relief in a form of levity and humor, he was very funny. I love David Harbour. I think he did an amazing job. He really brings it with the character. I think having him there as that comic relief is awesome, but the fact that he also gets to have depth as, you know, wanting to make things better with his daughter and trying to bring these ragtag people together as a team, and how excitable he is and how full of heart and joy he is. You know, he's not just there for the humor, he's also there for a lot of the heart of the group and a lot of the soul, and I really appreciate that about this movie in particular, just that he didn't have to be defined as just humor. He could be humor and a lot of heart and brave and kind, and like having this moment of deep connection with his daughter, and then saving like this little girl, and just the depth that they allowed him to have was truly beautiful. Back to the review. The scene where Bob is punching the void of himself and then the rest come up and hug him is one of the most gut-wrenching things I have ever experienced. It was so raw and real, ringing true to so many people's, mine included, experience with mental health problems. Bob was comfortable dying, and in fact thought maybe it was for the best. And I've certainly been there. A lot of us have. Even when Bob was, quote, bad, but he never truly was bad. We couldn't help but to feel for him, to wish that he could see the truth. And then, as an addendum, I put Bucky's hot, Yelena is hot, Ghost is hot, Bob is hot. That's just an added bonus, of course. But then I put, I laughed, I nearly cried, I felt the wind knocked out of me, I swooned. I love this movie. And I do stand by a lot of that. I think that there was so much heart to the movie, and it is truly just beautiful to see. I mean, a story of mental health and trauma and manipulation and guilt and fear, and then of friendship and of finding connection and community and people who maybe relate to you in some sort of capacity. There is just so much to this movie that is so beautiful and transcendent to me. And from a visual standpoint as well, I was blown away. They did a lot of practical stuff with this movie, and I love that. I hate when movies use green screen for everything. It doesn't feel real. I mean, obviously, it doesn't have the same feeling to it. It doesn't give you that same emotion, that same reaction. It doesn't hit as hard. It just doesn't feel right. And I love when directors and creators of movies stray away from using so much green screen for everything all of the time. It is exhausting. Practical stuff is better for the actors. It's better for the end result of the movie. It's better for the viewers of the movie. And I truly think that Thunderbolts going more practical was, I mean, obviously the right decision and one of the best decisions for that movie to make. It made it so much more of an incredible experience, especially because I went in already knowing that it was practical, because I had seen some clips floating around of like behind the scenes moments. I mean, I definitely don't know the extent of what was practical, but I already had an idea going into the movie, and that excited me because, again, I hate green screen, and I think it can be useful, and I think it's a great tool, but I think the overuse of green screen definitely negatively impacted the film like, maybe not the film industry because they're doing fine, the film experience for us lowly viewers over here, but like, truly, I think it took a lot of the joy out of performing for the actors, but it also took a lot of joy out of the viewing for fans. So yeah, I am truly into the rise of practical effects, and I can't wait to kind of see where that goes next. I have a feeling that Doomsday is going to be heavily special effects and heavily green screen, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not, because I love this new direction that movies are taking, like movies as a whole are taking. It's truly really exciting to me as someone who likes to watch movies for enjoyment. It brings me a lot of enjoyment to know that things are practical. So with that all out of the way, I thought that Thunderbolts was amazing. I do want to chat briefly about the Taskmaster drama, because I know nothing about that character, so I don't want to delve too much into it because I don't know what I'm talking about. I know nothing about Taskmaster, though I do think that killing off a character like that right in, like, not far into a movie at all is a little bold and maybe a little, disrespectful to the people who are into the character. But again, I don't know anything about the character. Sorry, there's a fire. I think my neighbors are having a bonfire, and it's like really high, and it scared me. So hopefully everything's fine. Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that. I truly apologize to anyone who, like, I'm really sorry for you guys if you really loved this character and had to witness them be treated with this disrespect. Because I do agree that killing off a character like this, like right into the movie, is a little iffy. And a lot of people had choice words and saying that it was like lazy writing and stuff like that. Again, I don't know the character, so I can't really speak to it, but I definitely don't think that the rest of the movie would have been negatively impacted by that character living. I don't think that her surviving would have, like, negatively impacted the movie in any way. Now, again, I don't know her, so I don't know if it would have positively impacted the movie, but I don't think that it would have negatively. So, in that regard, I do agree that there was likely no reason to kill her. But I think that's where I will end that little tangent because, again, I don't know her. If there is anything else I wanted to chat about with the movie, again, I think it was great. I was nearly crying in my seat at the movie theater during, the whole, like, void bit And it just rings so true to the experience of so many people. Oh, and I do want to mention that some people think that the whole Void Century Bob situation is kind of an allegory for DID, dissociative identity disorder. I don't have DID, so I, again, can't really speak to this, but I can say that the vibe that I got was more of a bipolar depression vibe, and I think that was what the intention was. I think the intention of the Void was to give a bipolar depression vibe, because Bob explicitly stated that he has good days and then he has really, really, really bad days. And to me, that sounds like bipolar with depressive episodes, like extreme depressive episodes. And he also used to have an addiction, which, to my understanding, he does not anymore. I mean, obviously by the end of the movie he does not, but I don't know if he's like still detoxing from stuff in the movie. I can't really speak to that either. I don't know what that experience is like. But that fire is getting huge. Like, I hope they know what they're doing there, because it looks freaky. And I just keep glancing over there because I'm like, I hope they're fine. I'm sure they're fine, but it's like worryingly tall. So yeah, the read I got was more of a bipolar depression, and I think that was the intention. Again, I'm not an expert on any of this, so I truly don't know, but yeah, to me, that was the vibe that I got. But I understand that with the Century part and the Void part kind of seeming like different entities, and they kind of are. They're all Bob, but they're kind of like different entities. I get with that, and then with the memory loss stuff, that can be interpreted as DID, but I'm not sure that was the intention. I think that it was probably just intended to be bipolar depression, and I think that representation of it was perfect. At least from, I don't have bipolar depression, I just have depression, but I definitely have swings of good days and bad days and stuff like that, and most people with depression do. So it very much rang true to me of like wanting to step into this void and let it kind of encompass you. And I love found family tropes, of course I do. And I love like anti-heroes getting together, becoming friends. Like, I love that. Then another quick interjection. I'm talking about this movie for a very long time because I just saw it, so I'm very sorry. I will get to other movies, I promise. This might be a long episode. Bob and Yelena, to me, I know there are a lot of maybe hinted romantic moments with them, Um, for me, it didn't really, it felt more like two people coming to truly understand each other and look out for each other and love each other. And Yelena really loved him and accepted him and tried to understand him from the get and protected him, and really cared from the beginning. And I know there's a lot of discourse about sexualities and stuff. Their characters, unless character sexualities are explicitly stated, I think it's fine to create your own narrative, so to speak. To me, I've kind of been enforced with this Arrow Ace Yelena narrative. I don't know if it comes from the comics. I don't know if it comes from a movie or the show that she was in. I'm not particularly sure. But it feels to me that there's something there. So then it also just feels kind of weird to like romantically ship her with anyone, just because of that idea of being Arrow Ace, which you can be Arrow Ace and still date people. You can be Arrow Ace and still be interested in people. I want to clear that up as well, but I don't know. I think that it's perfectly fine if someone ships them. I think that they do have a lot of great moments and that they do connect a lot, and that Yelena really does look out for him and care for him. To me, it doesn't fully read as romantic, but that's completely okay because we interpret things the way that we interpret them. So I wanted to jump in and say that as well. I feel like I can get to other stuff now. Apologize if I spent way too long yapping about Thunderbolts. I probably have a ton more to say. Let me search my mind palace for a moment and see if there's anything important that I feel like I need to bring up before we get into other movie reviews. Oh, I found Bucky's intensity with Mel, the assistant of Valentina, to be a little odd, especially at first, because I was like, what is going on here? But I mean, it's clearly because he was on the side of trying to impeach Valentina, so he was trying to get information and trying to get her assistant to testify and to speak about her and to be on their side to impeach her. So I got that, but at first I was a little like, what is this dude doing? You know what I mean? Also, when I saw previews and posters and stuff, actually I don't think I ever saw a trailer. I want to put that out there. I don't think I ever saw a Thunderbolts trailer. So when I saw maybe very, very small snippets of posters and clips of press stuff, I didn't register that Valentina was the villain. Obviously, I didn't know her name was Valentina. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, right? Or am I wrong? I don't want to be wrong. I feel like it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I don't want to be wrong. Oh no. Cast. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Thank you for that. I wanted to make sure I got it right before I said it, but I said it anyway. But I got it right. When I saw her in like some of the little like press bits that I saw, I had no idea that she was going to be the villain. I didn't know who she was going to be, but I didn't register in my brain that she was the villain. So when the movie started, it didn't register in my brain either. So it took a minute, and I was like, whoa, she's the villain. And then I was like, oh, I guess she's only in part of the movie then. I was like, oh, so she's like one of these villains that will only be there for a little while, and then it kind of won't be an issue anymore. But she was there the whole time, and she didn't die. And I was like, okay, bitch, like, what do you mean? And she was the one who introduced them as the new Avengers at the very end, because till the end she was who she was. So I was a little like shocked about that direction, but I think that's a good thing to kind of subvert expectations. And maybe it was only me who thought like, oh, this seems like a villain who will only be in a chunk of this movie, or at least she'll die at the end of it, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't think she was going to be a long-term part of anything, and that's probably my own fault. But, like, I don't know the character, and I don't know the story, and I didn't know anything about the Thunderbolts going into it besides that Yelena was there, and Bucky was there, and there was this guy named Bob who everyone loved, and that's kind of all I knew, and I was very pleasantly surprised in so many ways, and subverted in so many ways. Okay, now what I can only assume is way too long into the pod. Let's get to some other reviews. I apologize. So these are going to be kind of rapid fire. I'll give you the rating, I'll give you the title, and then I'll tell you like the little bit that I wrote, the little tidbit that I wrote. A lot of these I've actually changed my mind on since writing them, but I'll go ahead and just read it and then discuss. First, I have Superbad. Funny, overall an enjoyable time, a little much for me, but I can see why it's classic. The cop characters made me laugh a lot. I'm also just a huge Michael Cera guy, so bonus points for sure. I gave it 3 stars because I didn't love it, but I understand why it kind of sticks with a lot of people and why a lot of people enjoy it. Next we have The Edge of 17. I gave this movie 5 stars. A perfect story of teenage girlhood and grief and how dramatic and devastating everything feels. Haley portrays the role perfectly, the pain, the heartbreak, everything. If you know, this movie is incredible, but it will piss you off. It will make you so mad because she is just mistreated by everyone. And yes, she's a little annoying. Yes, she's a little rude, but she is also dealing with so much, and literally no one in her life besides this teacher now is on her side. And her mom is, I got some choice words for her. So, yeah, if you want to be pissed off, watch that movie, but it's really good. Next we have This Is the End. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm going to have to take some of that back. I had just watched it and I thought it was pretty funny. Now looking back, I wouldn't want to watch it again. I would probably move it down to 3 stars, honestly. I would take it down from 4.5 to 3, which is a big jump, but I just think that it was too new in my brain for me to give a just review. But my words say hilarious, ends with a dance number in heaven with the Backstreet Boys, so incredible. And I do agree that a dance number, win for me, with the Backstreet Boys, win for me. Like, I love that shit. It did make me laugh a lot. It was chaotic from the start to the finish, and it was enjoyable. It was fun. I think that I probably was a little too kind to it. Also, James Franco was a bad person apparently, and I didn't know that, so keep that in mind. Next I have The Outsiders, 1983, 4.5 stars. I would probably move it up to 5 stars. I'd go ahead and just yoink it up to 5 because it's an absolute classic. I wrote very queer, one of my favorite movies and books of all time. I have a limited edition version of the book. I love it. I've read it numerous times. There aren't a lot of books that I reread, and I have reread that one multiple times. The movie is very good. I will come in here and shout out the show. The Outsiders show is kind of a slay. It was very, very short-lived, unfortunately, and it was from forever ago, but it's so good. Next we have The Maze Runner. I gave 3 stars. I said it was a good movie. It was a better book. Not my fave, but it's good. I think the plot's good. I think the first Maze Runner is not my favorite of the trilogy, but it's good. I gave The Greatest Showman 3.5 stars. I should have given it either 4.5 stars or honestly 5 stars. It's not a perfect movie, and I get that some people reserve 5 stars for an absolutely perfect movie, but I remember the feeling that I got in the theater when the music started and it went boom, whoa, boom, whoa. That changed my life. That altered my existence. I was sitting there in shock, goosebumps. It was incredible. The whole middle bit about him cheating on his wife, I think is important, to the story of the real guy. But it was so boring. That whole middle part, and it sucks too because that song, Never Enough, is a banger of a song. It's so good, but that chunk of the movie is so boring. I can't do it. I said a truly life-altering movie, changed me when I watched it in theaters, shows a world larger than our own, incredible storytelling, great casting choices, creative and lyrically astounding music, which I agree with all of those notions. So I would probably bump it up to at least 4 stars. Maybe 4.5, maybe even 5 if I'm feeling generous, but that whole middle part is kind of boring. Next I have Coraline, which I gave 3.5 stars. I said amazing movie, incredible visuals and storytelling. There are so many amazing hidden details. It makes me want to know more and more. I think honestly this movie could probably be bumped up to at least 4 stars as well. I was trying to be impartial, but like I said before, movies are a very personal, subjective experience, so Coraline is definitely in my top movies now, at least. Before I wasn't really into it. Now I'm a lot more into it. I think it's a vibe heavy with it. Now we have Night at the Museum, 2006, 4 stars. Most of this rating is because of my emotional connection to this movie. Again, movies are very subjective. They're all about our experience. when I went over to my dad's house, on the weekends, occasionally, we would watch the Night at the Museum movie, and it made me laugh. He thought it was funny, and we'd quote it together, and it was just an enjoyable time. I think it's funny, it's entertaining, it's rewatchable, it's a good time for like a family. I think probably if we're going just based off of the quality of the movie, honestly, maybe 4 stars is valid, because genuinely it is a pretty good movie. Next, I have Enola Holmes, which I gave 3 stars. I said I didn't know if I would like it, but I did enjoy it. Millie does amazing, really interesting and unique. I didn't think it was like groundbreakingly amazing, nor was the characterization like truly remarkable, but it was entertaining and interesting, and had a fun mystery element because we didn't know what was going on either. And I love how her relationship with Sherlock has changed and grown and become so much better throughout the movies. So yeah, I think 3 stars is probably pretty valid. Next, we have one of my top 4. So I should actually mention my top 4 while I'm here, because I feel like that's important. My top 4 on Letterboxd are Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Thunderbolts, the Bob's Burgers movie, and Lego Batman. Now, these are kind of all over the place, and people may be like, what? There are different reasons for all of this, but anyway, I gave Into the Spider-Verse 5 stars. It's one of my absolute favorite movies. It is perfect. It is visually astonishing. It's a great story with beautiful storytelling. It's a must-watch movie for me. I think that everyone should give it a shot. When I saw it in theaters, my life changed. And like, I know that I keep throwing that out, but like, that's why watching movies in theaters can be such an incredible experience, because I genuinely, seeing like the comic style art on the screen altered my brain. Like, I was like, this is incredible. This is visually like so insane, and I love it so much. If I could see that movie in theaters for the first time again, I would absolutely. Like, it was just incredible. I have a ton of movies on here, but I'll go ahead and skip to the Bob's Burgers movie, because I did mention that this is on my top 4. I gave it 5 stars. I said funny, gorgeous animation, rewatchable, interesting, and Bob's is so special for me. Bob's Burgers, the show, I've been interested in for a few years now, and I've watched every episode, and then we're on season 15 now, but from like season 1 to like season 13, 14 even maybe, I've seen each episode 3-4 times, and then season 1 to like season 12, I've seen each episode like 10 times, 20 times, so many times. Those might even be lowball numbers, honestly. Like, I can quote most of the episodes. I love them so much. They mean so much to me. And the movie means a lot to me too. I think that it's not a cinematic masterpiece by most people's standards, but it is so fun, so enjoyable, so... These characters are so vibrant, not just in color but in like spirit and in energy. They are such energetic, vibrant, intense characters in such beautiful ways that it astounds me every time. And I think that this movie isn't perfect, but I don't know what would make it better. When I'm watching it, I'm like, this is so fun. This brings me a lot of joy. I love singing along with the songs. I love quoting it. I love seeing people's reactions to it. Like, I just love it. Now we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This one I gave 3 stars. And before everyone attacks me, I just want to say my reasoning here. Many sequences felt way too long. I loved the characters and like the expansion of the spider people. I thought that was really cool. It built intensity nicely, but it was surprisingly boring. The animation was beautiful as expected. I loved how the animation changed for different characters. Like when we went into Gwen Stacy's world to like see kind of her plot, the animation changed and a lot of the style changed, and it was really cool. Then I put like somehow both overwhelming and underwhelming. Visually, it got a little overwhelming sometimes, which is common with the Spider-Verse movies. But somehow there was like a ton going on and nothing going on at the same time. And it was also underwhelming because we spent 10 minutes watching a chase scene where all of the spider people are chasing Miles Morales for it to basically mean nothing and just kind of waste our time sitting there. Now, I did love that scene gave us a chance to see a lot of the spider characters, and it had some funny moments in it, and we got to see a lot of the design choices. I thought that was incredible, but like the actual scene itself was so like drug out, and I didn't vibe with it. And I feel like it's because originally that and the other one were supposed to be one movie, and then they realized that this can't be one movie, it has to be 2. So they need to split it up, but then they needed to zhuzh it up a little bit and just add a little bit more to it. I just think that they did a not great job of that in some aspects, and it honestly had me a little bored. Like simultaneously bored and overwhelmed, which is not a fun experience to have when watching a movie. I have been filming for so long, so I'm only going to do a couple more. I might do a whole video talking about Thunderbolts then, because I felt like I just kept having more to say. So if you want to hear me kind of delve deeper into Thunderbolts, I think I can either make a podcast like specifically about that, or I can try to make a video about that. Podcast episodes are a little bit easier for me to record. They're more low-key, but I'm down for whichever. Let's go ahead and go with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I think I watched this one like right after seeing it, but I put actually hilarious. You can feel like the stakes of it. I wish there was a little bit more to the end fight. The fight at the end like didn't feel as epic as it should have. Didn't feel as like intense as it was built up to be. Like, it was built up to be like this huge thing, and then the fight scene at the end like felt like an afterthought. Like, it didn't feel part of it. It just felt weird. Again, I did give this 4 stars because I did enjoy it. Very enjoyable watch overall. The characters didn't have much depth, but it's not really a character movie. The focus is more on like the story unraveling. We do get a little bit of the characters' depth and motivation, but just not a ton there. So I get it. Then let's see. I'll try to find a couple of my favorites. Okay, I was actually going to mention Deadpool and Wolverine and completely forgot to. Deadpool and Wolverine, 5 stars. Really fun, rewatchable, exciting. A few jokes that didn't work to me or didn't feel like they were in great taste. I think sometimes in an effort to be funny to certain groups of people, the writing for Deadpool just doesn't hit right. Because obviously it's appealing to a very specific group, and there are bits that I find funny, but then there are some that just don't land. Overall fun, funny, very enjoyable. Wish I could relive watching it for the first time. I watched this movie in theaters twice. It was awesome. It was a really fun theater experience because everyone else there, like I mentioned before, was so hyped too and so excited, and I could feel the energy in the theater like shift, and it was so cool. Last we have Abigail 2024, 4.5 stars. So fun and campy, funny, and immediately a fave. I do stand by this because I ended up watching this movie 2 or 3 times after seeing it in the theaters and still enjoying it. Some parts are a little boring, but honestly, I feel like most movies have parts that are a little boring, and I think that can kind of just be part of it. So I don't really hold that against most movies, which is why like I'll still give a movie 5 stars and then turn around and be like, there were some boring bits, because I just think that there's allowed to be some boring pieces sometimes, you know? I would say that in the ideal situation, you could have serious moments, you could have moments of learning stuff, you could have moments where things calm down without it being boring. But for most movies, there are a few boring bits, and it's okay. But Abigail was a really fun experience to watch in theaters. I don't think it was very scary, and I don't think it's really meant to be. It was mainly just fun. It was very campy. I did use that word because it feels like it's the right word to use in the situation, because it was very like over the top feeling. But yeah, in that sense, I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool and really fun. There are like some bits of like the lore that are kind of confusing, especially once you sit back and you're like, what was the like what happened to that guy that made him like bite the other guy and then start attacking her? Like, what was the connection there? I'm not particularly sure. I think maybe he was like possessed by Abigail or something during that bit, but I have no idea, because at first he like let the lady go. He was trying to like get her out and let her escape, and then he kind of like turned around and followed her and tried to fight her. I don't really know. I don't know, man. But overall, it was really cool. It was really fun. And I was talking to myself about this last night, and this will be the last thing I say before I end this episode. I'm so sorry. That I want more movies that are just fun. Like, the entire purpose is for the actors to have fun, the characters to have fun, the audience to have fun. It doesn't have to be a think piece. It doesn't have to be super deep. It doesn't even have to have like a super coherent plot. Just something fun and exciting. It doesn't have to have a deeper meaning. It can, but it doesn't have to. It can just be like people having a good time and things being fun, and I think that would be really enjoyable. Because it can be exhausting seeing a bunch of movies that are just either really depressing or really deep or like meant to provoke a lot of emotion or thought, and you just want to like go laugh with your buddies for a little while and just have fun. And I think there should be more movies created with the sole purpose of being fun for everyone involved. The cast, the crew, the characters, the audience, like for everyone just to have a good time. And that is the spiel that I will finish this episode on, because I've been talking for way too long, and I hope that it doesn't bother you guys too much that this episode was super long. Let me know if you want to see a full pod episode about Thunderbolts or a regular video about Thunderbolts, and there'll be more editing in a normal video. The pods are very minimal editing. I don't really cut out much. I stumble over my words. I say a lot. I take pauses a lot. That's kind of the vibe of the pod. My actual videos, I try to cut out any awkward pauses or or stutters. So let me know if you would prefer a regular video talking about Thunderbolts, so it would be a little bit easier to digest, or if you would like me to stop talking about Thunderbolts, because I could also do that. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for listening and so much for watching. I love you all very much. I will try to get the pod on Spotify or Apple, some other place, so that you guys don't have to go to YouTube, because I know it's really boring to stare at like random pictures on the screen. I'll figure something out. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.